p.m. on October 1st. I ask everyone to stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask everybody, when they do talk, to please, all officers, state your name every time prior to talking so that everybody that is gonna listen to the minutes or anything that's not present or has a visual of it understands who is talking. At this time, I'd like to, wait, do we have any alternates that we are seating tonight, or we don't?
No.
No, okay, we're good, all right.
We do have two new members if you want to introduce them.
Yeah. Okay. At this time, I'd like to have each officer introduce themselves on the mic to have the record know who's present. We can start off to my far left.
Gary Garafola.
Len Libonia.
David Batari, Secretary of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Mark Kane, Chairman.
John Allen.
John Perazzo.
Jason Edwards.
Great. All right, I hereby open the public hearing. At this time, any public notices need to be read into the minutes?
No.
Let the record.
This is the continuing public hearing from last time.
Oh, that's right, these are the
So,
two continuances, okay.
Correct, so, yeah.
All right. All right, so for new business, we have application number 24-185-Z, 154 Eagle View Road, Mr. and Mrs. Steve and Maria Rantos. Did I say that correctly? Okay. Applicant and owner applying for a variance of section 13.6 to zoning regulations, seeking approval to install a 14 by 28 foot in-ground pool encroaching on property setbacks, site plan provided with this, with this application. All right, is there any new thing that you'd like to?
Good evening. My name is Stephen Rantos from 154 Eagleview Road.
There you
Thank you. Last we spoke, there was a couple things with the variance request that you guys had asked for me to look into and to bring back to you. One of the main issues or questions was whether or not a well truck would be able to drive around the front of the house to access the wells on the side of the house. And if we put a pool on the side of the house, therefore not impeding on any setbacks, would it obstruct the ability for a well truck to get to the wells? Because that was the hardship. So I had my well guy that drilled my new well 4 years ago, about Mark Johnson. He came out, he looked at the property, and he wrote me a letter. And I'm going to pass those out now, and I'll give you a minute to read the letter if you'd like. The original I'm going to put into record. The original I'm going to put into records with Jared. Thank you. And then last time there was only 4 of you, so I did my best with the amount of paperwork. I also took some photographs of the side yard, and then also the first page is the front yard where the septic tank is. And on the ground, you can see a circular dry dead spot of grass. That's where the septic tank starts, and where I'm standing, there's another dry dead piece of grass. There's a lot of dead grass. My yard's not the best, but there's another opening for the other side. And that correlates to our septic field plot plans that I have. The tank is right here, and the leaching fields go closer to the woods, away from the house, and even go down farther away from the house. So any well truck that needs to get around to the side of the yard to get to the wells, they'll be able. There's enough room between the house and the tank, and the leaching fields are far enough away that the rig can get around the house. I'll give you a moment to look at the pictures. So from the left-hand corner of the house to the septic tanks is about 29 feet. From the right front corner of the house to the front well is about 27 feet. And the rear well to the rear right corner of the house is approximately 60 feet. So the idea would be, he explained, he'd have to build a road, but Chris, my pool guy, said he's already gonna have to build a road if he's gonna bring machinery around the front anyways, and they'd put grass over the crushed stone. So there'd be a road there in the event that we ever need to put bring a well truck around. But there's not a lot of room on that side yard you see there. A pool in place on the side of the yard there, it would make it almost impossible for a well truck to get in there, and especially, turn around and back up to the well. If you're looking at that one picture with the playground, when he was there drilling the well, the front of his truck was almost halfway up right next to the slide, if not a little bit farther up from the slide. That's how long the truck was. So any pool going there with a fence would make it impossible for a well truck to operate back there and try to get into the well. So that was the main, one of the main concerns. Another question that was asked was how tall the wall was in the back. I know it wasn't, the diagram wasn't, didn't express it clearly, but it's 3 feet. I did have I had the, Chris from Prospect Pools, he did do a plot plan for the side yard. He called me yesterday. He said he went to the building department. I don't know if he spoke to you, Mark, or I don't know who's over there. But he didn't have anything printed out yet, so they're working on that. And that's the one hang up. But he did go and talk to the building department over there and explained that he did do he's getting a site plot. So that was the other big thing that we had talked about, was getting the site plot. Other than that, Len had concerns of the emergency access in the back. Again, I disagreed, but I think all those points, from what I remember, what we talked about last, that I want to just bring back to you.
Since we do have additional board members, is there anybody that needs to recuse themselves for any reason due to this application? Let the record show there's nobody. All officers are all aware. Has everybody had enough time to review all the documentation?
Can I see the plans for this,
Sure.
this proposed pool, just so I could?
Should be in the application file, Mark, the binders.
Give him this. See if that's all there. I think it is.
There you go. Actually, here.
Yeah, about half the pool goes over the 30-yard setback in the back. Where we want to put it is right behind the house.
Gary?
Okay, so this is the front.
I would just like to bring one thing to your attention, and I don't know if I misunderstood you. This is just a word of caution. You said they're gonna build a road in front of between the woods and the front of your septic leaching fields?
By my walkway, and over onto my grass a little, they may have to put some gravel down to drive around.
Oh, so it's not after the leaching fields?
No,
Oh,
no,
because
no.
that's your reserve area.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
there's plenty of
If you put something
room.
on that, you could end up, just a word of advice, that's all.
Just show him where the leaching field is, and on that first page of the picture, that you can see kind of where my tank is, to get him an idea of where the leaching fields are.
Oh, you could have approached it.
Oh, sorry. And on that first photograph, you can kind of see where the tank is to get you an idea of where the house is compared to the leaching fields, the tank. There's a
So
lot
you're
of
saying
room.
they're gonna go in between the holding tank and the house?
Yeah, there's about 20,
Yeah, no, that's, I see what you're saying.
there's 29. It's been one of those days. There's 29 feet from the house to that tank. I mean, there's a tree a little bit even closer that they're gonna have to scoot by too.
So ideally, what is your hardship? Please, if you could state clear for the board, the
Yep.
hardship that you feel that you're incurring here.
So, when we first moved into the house, we bought the house back in 2018. It only had that one front well. After being in the house for a couple of years, we had lost water about 4 times, sometimes more than 48 hours, no water. The replenish rate was super slow. And so I had Mark come, my well guy, and he drilled a new well. And he was out there for 6 months drilling. And
By hand?
with his rig. Yeah, with his rig. And he got down to around 300 feet, or maybe a little less. And he kept on, every time he'd drill 50 feet down, he'd leave, he'd come back the next day, it would be caved in on itself. And he'd keep trying, and keep trying, and keep trying, and
So
keep
he
trying.
pounded, he didn't drill with
No, he
sleeve.
drilled, no.
But why didn't he sleep?
Oh, no, he pounded, you're right, he
Yeah.
pounded, he pounded, pounding's better. He pounded. He pounded though, and every time he came back, it would cave in on itself, and he tried and he tried and he tried. We got to the point where it was about 1.5 gallons a minute replenished, which wasn't ideal. He was trying to shoot for 3. And so what we ended up doing was installing a 300-gallon water holding tank in our basement, and it feeds, both wells feed it on a switch, changing back and forth. And so the hardship is if we put a pool on the side of the house there'd be no way to get any well truck over there in case it ever collapses in on itself, or we need to get a truck over there to drill if we ever have any problems with our well. So anything that we put over there, a pool with the cement and the patio and then a fence around, there'd be no way to access it. If we put the pool in the back of the house, and the way he accessed it originally was he drove in the back of the house to get to the well. So the question was, well, can he even get a truck in front of the house? Would be putting a pool in the back of the house obstruct our access to the well as well? So that's why I had him come out, and he said he could drive around the front of the house. So therefore, putting the pool in the back of the house would still allow us access to the wells, although it goes over the setback lines. Whereas on the side of the house, it doesn't go over the setback lines, but then we can't access our wells, and that's the hardship. We need to have potable water at the house. So that's it in a nutshell.
So basically, what I'm hearing is it's more of a want, because I'm not seeing a hardship in regards of, other than the fact that, you have a well or something of any sort like that. And my thing is that I'm not sure if this is even possible. You had just mentioned that your pool guy from Prospect Pools had put together a plan for you, and you approached the zoning board, I believe, or did you approach the building department?
No, Chris approached the building department,
Okay,
I
he
think-
approached the
I
building.
think yesterday with the plan.
This is
Oh, he
my
spoke.
board.
Okay, did he bring anything to you?
He didn't have anything
Okay.
prepared.
What did he say?
The
general plans that were gonna be submitted were gonna be a re-rendering of this plan that also depicted elevations. One of the questions was the fence to the rear of the property that was gonna be installed, quote-unquote, on the existing wall would increase the height past the 6 feet maximum for the fence height. When speaking with Chris, he did not have the plan available or ready. However, he had stated that the fence would be set behind the wall. And based on elevations and grade, you're working on a new elevation at that point. You're not working on a physical feature, you're working on the ground elevation on the back side of the wall. And the fence, I believe, was gonna be 4 feet in height. So at that ground elevation, you're measuring a new height for the fence. So the fence, if it is set back from the wall, would be conforming.
So to be clear then, this plot plan that he's putting together with the elevations and the fence and everything is for the rear, for the pool in the rear, not for the side yard.
My understanding was that he was gonna get one from the side yard, is what he told me. I don't know, did he say that?
We didn't go into a lot of detail,
Yeah, okay.
frankly. He
He's not a
was
man of many
surprised
words.
that the meeting was today and then realized very quickly while speaking with,
Yeah.
at the, department that day that he wasn't gonna have it in time,
Mhm.
and then had requested that he be able to submit it afterwards.
So is the board able to give a extension within our timeline
Yes, so
for
you
him to
can
be able to
actually,
preside what he's
he-
gonna need?
so you can request for
Can
an
I
extension,
Yeah,
and if you want, of the public hearing, yes, so he can request, and then you can push it out to another.
Would you like to have that time frame?
yes, I would like to present the plans to you. That being said, I'd like to hear what you had to say regarding hardship. If it's not gonna make a difference, I don't wanna waste anybody's time.
No, I understand. I mean, and we have to put that, we would then have to close the application before we can discuss and have anything on that. So at this point in time, it would be, you can always ask for the extension and then if you decide not to do it, I mean,
This is the situation you guys are under right now. If the applicant is requesting an extension of the public hearing to generate more information for your review, then the applicant would have to make that request and you guys would have to grant it. That essentially tables the application moving forward. If you felt that a vote could be rendered tonight without that information, then you would close the public hearing tonight and render your decision without that new piece of information, which wouldn't, to my understanding, be inclusive of a variance application. It would just be representing more of a conforming structure as it's related to the pool being installed to the right of the house in a conforming area that wouldn't require a variance.
Correct. So what I'd like to do then is ask for an extension to provide that for you, and then you guys can make the decision whether you believe that those plans are gonna change, having a difference in opinion of your vote.
I would suggest that, this is just a suggestion, is to do that and provide both,
Hmm?
plot plans of with the pool in the rear and in the front.
Yep.
That's probably the best thing I could say. And
Yeah.
with that, I say that we'll accept your
Thank you.
application of wanting to extend. Yeah, but, I'm sorry?
The public hearing.
The public hearing.
Yep, nailed it.
Okay, thank you.
Go
Thank you, I
ahead.
appreciate it. I didn't mean to waste anybody's time.
Ask questions?
Yeah, is
Yeah.
there anybody that has questions? I'm sorry.
Len Libonia. So, getting back to the original plan of the pool being in the rear of the house, can you speak as to how you said you agree that, or that you disagree with the fact that it was stated at the last meeting that emergency vehicles could access that area? And I don't remember us getting into specific details, but can you provide specific details on your original plan and how emergency vehicles would be able to access that area under the current plan you have?
Not that I disagree, I'm sorry. What I was saying was, if there's a pool there, the emergency vehicle's not gonna be able to drive over there, you're correct. But it's not gonna limit access to ambulance with the stretcher, stair chair, extractions. My feeling is that there's houses with way worse topography that you have to go into and extract people. I was an EMR for 10 years. We never drove on anybody's property to extract anybody out of anybody's houses. So that's just my feeling. Have had an ambulance come to the house before for my daughter when she fell and hit her head on the tile. They backed up in the driveway and they just came right into the garage door.
Okay.
In regards to a fire, having a fire truck back there, I don't know, I know that I looked it up, a fire can burn up to 200,000 degrees Fahrenheit. I know that the fire truck's tires are rated to handle it, but I don't even know if there's enough space back there if you'd want to get a fire truck that close to the house in case of a fire. And in terms of police, if there's anything really going on, they're gonna park up the road and walk down, so that's where my head comes from.
Okay, but with a pool in the back, that would absolutely exclude a fire truck from going in the back. The way it is now, from looking at the diagram and the photos, it looks like it's a possibility to get a fire truck in the back. I don't know whether or not that's a route that they would take or something that they would consider, but with the pool, and correct me if I'm wrong, with the pool in the back, that would absolutely exclude a fire truck from going into the backyard, correct, or am I incorrect?
No, you are correct.
Okay,
With a pool, though, there's no fire hydrants, so then at least you'd have pumpable water, so no pool, what's better? I don't know.
I did get the opportunity to speak with the fire marshal regarding that question, Len, and he did confer that this was not a concern of theirs. However, if this commission would like, I'd be happy to get that in writing.
okay,
And we did email it, well, we sent a call to his office to have him come out to look. He didn't return our call, we didn't call again. We could have tried a little harder, but yeah, that's kind of
Okay.
where we stood on that.
okay.
All right, oh, you got one, go ahead. Okay, thanks.
Just state your name.
Dave Batari, Secretary of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Question is, the trees here, are they on your property or somebody else's property?
Do you mind if I come take a peek?
Yeah, go ahead. The trees in the back?
Those are my property, so I thought, there is a,
So from that stone wall to your neighbor's property line is 18 feet?
what does it say? I don't want to give you a wrong figure, but, because there was a rock wall behind the, there was a small rock wall dilapidated behind the trees, and from that small rock wall to the front of my rock wall was 30 feet, so he thought we were gonna be good. But I think the property line goes through the middle of the trees there
Yeah.
at some point. How many feet back? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, is it measured on the site plan for the back of the pool, for the site plans for the pool in the back of the,
The reason why I'm asking is
Yes.
because the edge of your, on this plan here, from the edge of your pool
yep,
to your neighbor's property line, once you get the pool put in, there's only gonna be 18 feet,
okay,
right?
Yep.
If I'm looking at this picture, which yet obviously it's not the scale, that looks a lot less than 18 feet to the neighbors.
Then you also have to remember.
So-
14-foot pool.
so for the pool to the wall is gonna be about 4 feet?
To what that existing stone wall, right, or
Correct,
retaining wall, right?
yes. And then the wall's about a foot and a half, 2 feet thick.
Yeah,
So then you're left with, let's say, 6 feet, so then you have another 10, 12 feet past the wall that's still my property, I believe.
looks tight. Looks like, I'm just asking if you're gonna have to cut down any of those trees and if your neighbor's gonna be involved in that.
I don't want to cut down any trees. If I have to put posts in between the trees, my plan would be to put like a wooden fence on the both sides and then like a strong pool grade chain link fence through the trees. And I was gonna go out there and auger in down the 3 feet and put the posts and put chain link so you don't even see it. That was gonna be my approach to that.
Okay. Guess that's it.
Gary Garofalo, I believe last time you did bring letters from your neighbors, correct?
Correct, yep.
Yep.
They both, well, one neighbor was supporting, and the other neighbor said she sent it in, and I believe they have it. I didn't read it.
Okay, but I remember, I
Yes.
remember reading the letter. Okay.
Yes, yeah. And I told them we weren't planning on cutting the trees down, so they're on those pretenses as well.
At this time, is there any other board members that have any questions?
Jason Edwards. One thing, if you're gonna get a modification to the plan, could you ask them maybe to put the pool equipment on the plan too, where that's gonna go? And maybe if you're gonna do a heater, if you're gonna have a propane tank or something like that, it would be good to see where that is in relation to,
Yep.
movements on the site, if they're gonna have, in the way of the trucks or whatever you're talking about getting back there.
Yep.
Maybe to know where they fit.
The heater's gonna be electric. I have solar panels, so we save on that, thankfully. And the plan was to put it at the end of the rock wall closest to in the picture there on a small concrete pad and put all the pool equipment right there.
Does that, have to meet setbacks too? Anybody know? The pool equipment?
The pool equipment, it depends on the utility, and it depends on how it's installed. A structural pad may require it, however, some utilities are waived from
Okay.
the setback requirements.
Just something to be conscious of.
Yeah, thank you. I believe at that point, it's really only the front half of the pool that goes over the variance. I believe at that point, we'd still be within 30, far enough 30 feet.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Dave Patari, once again. Almost more than half, according to what I'm looking here, more than half of your pool is going across the setback.
Yeah, on a diagonal, correct? Is it
Right,
maybe
right,
like
yeah.
2/3 then? I'm sorry.
And I understand what the fire chief might be saying, but the setback's a setback 30 feet. It's for safety, so
From the,
property line.
for
Whole-
sa-
The whole rules about being a setback is,
okay, I didn't
all
know.
right.
Thank you.
I'm just,
I didn't know that that's what the setback was for the safety.
Jason Edwards again, is there a minimum distance your pool has to be from the house? Is that a building code issue?
From the way, not that I know, I don't know, but the way that the plot plan lies, from what my pool guy said, that it's to code, there's no issue between the house. That being said, I don't know.
I just didn't know if you could slide it forward and get it a little bit out of that setback as much as you possibly can. Put your patio on the backside and, it gets you closer to where you want to be at least.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's tough. Maybe we just put a jacuzzi back there.
Yeah, just ideas.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, this time you want to do a continuance?
I would like to bring the plot plans as we had talked last. That was my goal. That was the plan to bring them.
Okay, how many days does this give him for, is it just till the next month, or, all right, so if we
Okay.
could, and if you could just do that in writing to the zoning, so
Okay.
they have it on record?
You want me to send you an email or? Okay.
And then Mark, just make the motion to accept the extension request.
I make a motion to accept the continuance. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it.
No problem.
We need someone to second.
Choose.
Just
to do the
second it.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Gary Garofalo.
You have your,
Yes, Max.
if I could just get the maps back to, what else?
The pictures, would you guys keep for the next session, or do you want?
Actually, no, we can hand them back to you, absolutely, this way you have them, and make sure everybody else in turn, yeah, absolutely, I agree.
I will take one of them during the regular.
Letters too.
yep, copy.
Thank you again.
You're welcome, have a good evening. All right, at this time, we have application number 24-204-Z, 407 South Britton Road, applicant owner applying for a variance of section 13.6, the zoning regulations to construct an 8 by 8 foot deck with stairs to grade at an existing non-conforming structure, does not encroach on adjoining properties, and to improve the overall look of the property. Site plan provided with this application. Do we have one here? Alright, you wanna take a look at it, pass it down? And these are the respondents for this one? And we have all of them?
Yeah.
Let the record show that we have all correspondence from neighbors.
Can I ask a question?
I think we may just,
wait?
yeah, just go through it first. Oh, I forgot about asking about the minutes, since we do have new members, if everybody has read the minutes from the previous session,
Yes.
has everybody read them?
Yes.
Yes.
If you weren't present, okay, all you have to do is state that you haven't, that's all
I
your
have
name?
not read, John Prazo, I have not read the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay. Let the record show everybody but one has read the minutes.
So John, in that instance, an abstention is exactly the right,
Got it.
in the event that this goes to a vote.
John Demiglio, I'm the applicant. Last meeting, you asked for pictures, and I have some pictures of the property structure.
Oh, so there's already a deck there.
So remember, Mark, you guys have to weigh this discussion, without that in mind.
Okay.
So don't consider this an after the fact, just imagine the deck is not there, you guys are moving forward with an
Yep.
application for a variance.
Not a problem. I'm sorry. At this time, I'd like to open up the floor to the board members for any questions that want to ask the applicant. Oh, hold on, excuse me for 1 second. Is there anybody on the board that needs to recuse themselves? Let the record show nobody is recusing themselves from this application. At this time, you can ask any questions. Please state your name before you ask any questions.
Go ahead. Jason Edwards, for the record. I see there's a doorway coming out of the back of the house. Was that there before you,
No, I had gotten a permit to do work on the house.
did you have a permit for that door?
I believe so, yeah.
So wouldn't that somewhat constitute a hardship if he was granted a permit to install that door there? He'd have to have an access way out of it.
We, at this point, is not open for discussion as far as what we.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
sorry.
you can ask questions as far as that.
Sort of was a question, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know how that would apply. To me, it feels like that sort of led him on that path, which would potentially be a hardship, but, okay, that was my question. Thanks.
Anybody else have any questions? John?
Is this, the steps, are they gonna be coming towards, I know that it says it's going towards the back over here, but is this gonna be a new entrance to the house?
No,
Like,
it's
is
an
this gonna go to these wooden steps that you already have here?
No, it's the opposite side of the house. If the steps came on, that's the only way up to the house are those steps. There's no driveway, so the steps have to go based on the height of, you can see how high the deck is. Based on the height of the deck, you need a certain number of steps to get down to the grade. So if we had it come on the other side, it would land in the middle of the walkway.
And the deck here, the setback, you're not reaching it with the 8x8, right? The 30 feet?
Looks like, if I can see the site plan, that would be. He currently has 36-1 from the house to the property line. And what is the setback on this one? Because it doesn't show on here. It's an R, what are you gonna have, 25 feet or 50 feet in the front, 25 feet? What's the normal?
It's 50 feet from the road, it's 30 feet from all other properties.
Right, so it's already out of conformity.
Yeah.
All right, so regardless if he goes towards the back or whatever, I don't know if that's a help to your
Yeah.
question.
I'm good.
You're good?
Mm-hmm.
Can I see those pictures? please?
Yes.
Thank you. On one of these pictures of you inside your home, looking out the new patio door,
Hey, John, you wanna take the mic with you?
okay? Here you're standing looking out this way, correct?
Correct.
If I was to walk in off this hypothetical 8x8 deck into those patio doors, soon as I walk in, what room am I in?
Bedroom,
This here.
right.
So that's your bedroom.
It's not my bedroom, it's someone's bedroom, but yes, it's a bedroom.
Oh, okay, so this is not yours. You're not living here then? This
No.
is- Okay, all right. So then when you come through that, to the right, is that a closet?
Yes,
Okay, and then then you just have what towards?
it's a small bedroom.
It's just a small
space,
bedroom?
right,
Okay, all right. I just was trying to get to the gist of the layout of the house, that's why. So
Right.
this bedroom runs the full width?
Correct.
With the closet in the
Yeah,
back?
mhm.
And then you'd walk in, this is the living room, and then if
I
you,
think there's another picture of the front door. Did I,
yeah, you came off the front door right here?
no, inside looking, I didn't, maybe I didn't print that
No.
one. Okay. Thought I
But I see here where you're coming, your front door is here,
Right,
Which
so,
is this.
like, right, if I was standing here looking
out the front
out,
door.
that would be the front door. I mean, it's a very small structure.
Correct.
I mean, it's tiny, so,
And you have a full basement on here?
no. It's partial. half of it's a basement.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
But you can see how high, I mean, I was trying to explain how high it would be if, you know, for an emergency exit without having something there. I mean, you'd
Did
go
you,
out the window and tumble down the hill.
I do believe I could be mistaken, but did you talk to the fire marshal as far as the maximum height that you can go before you need to have an egress of some sort that you cannot get out a window? Because if you were to put a 3.0 by 5.7 window here, okay, which should be suffice for any fireman.
Yeah, but if you jumped out the window, I mean, you could see how, that's the reason for the pictures, you'd go tumbling down the hill. It's very steep. I mean, there's like 45 steps going up there.
I understand that, but the point is that
Would you want to jump out of a window with that up
if the
there?
house is on fire, I'd jump out of a window at 30 feet.
Okay, but it would be much safer with a landing.
Right, but I don't write the regulations. The fire department would say that after 12 feet, which is usually, if I'm not mistaken, after 12 feet, then you would need to have an emergency egress.
Okay.
I could be mistaken. I'm not making a statement that it is 12 feet, but under certain regulations that I'm familiar with, after 12 feet, you need to have a certain type of egress, which would relate to stairs, a rollout ladder, or something like that, that would allow you to have an emergency exit on
Right.
here.
No, I
So-
didn't talk to the fire marshal, no.
So my thing is that I'm saying is that if you were to put an actual egress window that was here, that was capable of knocking out both sashes, and even if the fire department had to get in there with a ladder, it's within 12 feet, that they can carry up to get to somebody that's in there, it would be suffice versus having a deck with a patio door. I understand this is much more appealing to you, and it's much more appealing to say even, and hypothetically, if you were to have for resale. But the fact is that it's already out of conformity. You are getting even more out of conformity. It's not like you're doing this and it's making it, you know, you're staying within the whole
But
other.
the whole house is out of conformity. There's
Correct,
no
which
place-
makes this an even more delicate
But
situation.
isn't that a hardship to have a house that's on a non-conforming
This is
lot?
more of a want. It's more of a want. It's not, you know, I don't wanna, I'm not looking to get into an argument with you on this. I'm just saying is this is more of a want. If you were to jump out of that, you might break your leg. You're not gonna die unless you dive. But you could dive out of a 5-foot, you know, the guy here with his pool, he could have a 4-foot pool, so he could dive and die. So there's always gonna be that situation. My thing is to you.
Well, what
would-
about the safety issue? I mean, we're talking about having a pool too close to the property line, so you could have,
We haven't made any judgment on that.
right,
so-
so this is my point, is like, this is like a safety issue. Yeah, you could probably jump out of a window and go tumbling down. If there's an older person in there, I'm not sure if they would wanna do that.
I
It's
understand
much
that, it's, but again, I don't make the rules about
understand.
egress.
I-
So, again, this might come to a fact that I don't know how to dance around this without giving you advice. But my thing would be is probably to talk to the fire marshal about this. That would probably be my best thing, because then you have an existing structure that has that topography that you didn't alter, that you have a basement on this side, the height of it. I could be mistaken on 12 feet. I don't know what this town is. I have no idea. I know in certain other towns, in cities and stuff that I've done projects in, 12 feet's the max. After that, you can't, you have to have some type of.
Mark, just as a point of order, the 12-foot requirement, you guys can't really weigh in on that. Your only role as the zoning board of appeals
Okay.
is to review applications and provide variances to the zoning regulations. The only thing he's requesting is a variance to the setbacks.
Okay.
And then he has to make a claim based on the hardship related to the land that his property sits on as it relates to said hardship.
Right, and that's where I
It's-
was saying, it was tough for me to try, I probably said too much, and I didn't mean to taint this or do anything. I was just trying to explain something.
Well, it's an R60 zone and it's only a 1 acre lot. I mean, that's a hardship in itself, isn't it? Like, the fact that
Here's the
it's a
thing, when you bought the
non-conforming lot.
property, your attorney should have advised you on that. I mean, you went into this project, and again, this is where we're going into this banter back and forth, and I'm not trying to be rude, I'm not trying to by any means. I can't be here to assist and tell and do and this and that, but the problem is here is whenever you go to a closing, the attorney advises you. A good attorney's gonna tell you, look, this house is not in conformity. You're buying it. You went into the project knowing
That's why I'm
that.
here, though. That's why I'm trying.
Correct, but the thing is you were also denied by the zoning board for this as well, and you're here trying to plead hardship. And your case of being
So the
hardship,
fact that the topography isn't a hardship, and the fact that the property is in a R60 zone, and it's only an acre, isn't a hardship? And the fact that it was a pre-existing
that's not.
structure?
That's, well, yeah, what Mark's trying to say
Topography,
is-
topography is the only thing. Based on that, just topography is a valid hardship.
And looking at this photo right here, if you were to jump out of a window on there, yeah, you're gonna land and you're gonna do whatever, you're probably gonna break your leg, your ankle, or whatever, but I can't sit here and try and persuade you or the rest of the board, this is wrong of what I'm doing. I should not, because I'm doing more than I should be. And I need to step back on this, and in a moment, I'm actually probably gonna recuse myself from this, because I think I've already said too much. So, I don't know what you wanna do, if you wanna continue with this, and we can go for a vote. You wanna do whatever and ask for a continuance to try and get more information, it's entirely up to you. I
Well,
can't,
I don't know what other information I can get. I mean,
I can't.
I pretty much have, I had the property surveyed, I had a topo done. You know,
I understand.
Yeah.
I have to oblige, I have rules that we have, all of us on this board have rules. Just like for everybody throughout the town that comes upon us. There's rules and there's reasons for rules.
Right.
So, you know, you need to preside your best ability of what hardship is. And then basically, you need to convince us that, yes, this is a hardship. Once you're done doing that, then what we'll do is we're gonna close the hearing if you do not wish to continue it. And we're gonna take a vote on it. And we're all independent people. We all make our own little independent choices. So this is your moment to preside to everybody throughout here, your best that you have to convince us.
well, it's a
that-
unique property too, because there's no driveway either. So the only way up, you know, in or out of the property is those steps that you see. So, I mean, you know, topography, the steps, having another way out of the building would definitely, you know, make it a lot safer if there was a need for someone to be, you know, removed from the property. I'm making the property, it's not like I'm doing anything to like take away from the property. I'm making the property better. I've done a lot of work to the property to make it look better. I have plans to do more work there. It's not, you know, I don't think the deck is gonna hurt anyone. I think it's gonna make the property look better, you know, keeping with the look of the town. I'm not, I don't know. That's all I really, I could come back 100 times and say the same thing. It's not gonna, if it's, you know,
Can I ask a question?
sure.
What year was the original building built?
I think in the 30s, 1938.
What was, when were the zoning regulations adopted? Do you know what the date was?
1966.
So this predates the original zoning regulations then, so,
I would imagine.
so
yeah.
that structure predates zoning and the regulations came in after it was built, right?
Correct.
So he has no way to build anything on that house at all but it was constructed before the regulations, so isn't the implementation of the regulations would be a hardship, wouldn't it?
That's the role of this board, is to
Okay,
assess
to
those
assess-
on an
to
individual
basically
basis.
determine that, okay.
And then make that determination. I will just step in. John, you're making your case for yourself. Mark is absolutely right. You have the opportunity right here in the public forum to make those cases. So everyone is aware, unique properties can establish a hardship if they're unique unto themselves. Slope and steep slopes, topography, bedrock, wetlands, all can limit a property's ability to develop in a reasonable manner. If the applicant is able to represent the hardship related to his land, and you, as the commission, are able to determine that as a strict interpretation of the zoning regulations, be it R60, 30-foot setbacks, 50-foot setbacks, would limit this property owner to kind of an unreasonable use of said property, that's when you as the board would step in and provide a variance to this individual to alleviate them from that hardship and allow them reasonable use of their property, okay? That is a broad scope of your role as the Zoning Board of Appeals. It does not provide any specifics to this application, any others that have come before you. You also have the reasons for approval and denial in front of you today. If this does go to a vote, you'll have to state one of those on the record, and as far as that information is, I'll leave you at that.
At this time, is there any other board members that have any further questions? Let the record show there's no other questions. At this time, I open the floor to the public for anybody in favor of this application. Let the record show there's nobody in favor. At this time, I open the floor for anybody that's not in favor to the public. Let the record show there's nobody here from the public that has any objections. Is there any further evidence, anything that you have? that you-
Well, I think it, you know, I think it is just a reasonable use of the property. I'm not looking to put a, you know, a swimming pool or you said it was a want, but I just think it's a reasonable use. You know, it's a small, it's not a wraparound porch that's going around the entire house. It's a small 8x8, you know, it's basically a landing, an oversized landing. I mean, it's called a deck, but it's not, 8x8 is not,
No, I hear.
you know.
Hmm.
I think that's a reasonable, it's not like a multi-layered deck with a, you know, where I'm adding on something, a monstrosity onto a tiny little house. It's just, I think it's a pretty reasonable use, so. I mean, I don't wanna keep, you know, coming back. I mean, I think I don't really have much else to say. I mean, it's, you know, I have pictures to show the lay of the land. I have the topography of the site plan, you know, that the surveyors did the topography to show you the topo. And like I said, I plan on doing more work there to make the place, you know, more aesthetically pleasing from the street view, you know. It was a mess when I bought it, and it looks a lot better now, and it's just gonna keep getting better and better.
What's that?
All right.
We have to close for a vote?
You would close,
Yep.
have an internal discussion, and then
All right, at this time, I motion to close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All right, so, at this time, you know, I'd like to inform the officers that this is not something that is a personal opinion of. This is something that you have to make a judgment call based on what rule is. So, you have to put your personal feelings aside. So, in discussion here, does anybody have any questions or that they wanna talk about on this?
I don't.
Can I just see this sheet one more time?
Yeah.
So this is Jason Edwards, but, just reading the first item on here, that the strict interpretation of the zoning regulations would result in undue hardship, particularly affecting the property. Now, because this structure was built before zoning existed, right? So zoning then came along, regulations were implemented, and they applied to this property that pre-existed zoning. To me, that is a peculiar situation which is subject to just this property and any other property that maybe a structure was predated that zoning implementation. In my opinion, that, you know, would be a valid reason, you know, to approve it personally.
Well, the thing you also have to remember is that this person has not been in that house pre-zoning regulation, which was 76, you said?
66, but the
Six-
individual ownership doesn't have anything to do
Yeah,
with
it should be the
Okay.
use that would stick with it. It's been a residence for
It's been a residence,
however long.
it's been a non-conforming residence, and the hardship is just pertaining to the land, so the hardship wouldn't change user to user. from
Yep.
owner to owner.
Yeah, and the way they zoned it, they've made this house
Yeah, I mean, you
pretty
can't do
much
anything.
impossible to do anything.
I mean, I look at it too, the peculiar topographic features, right,
That too.
of this site. I mean, I look at that as well. I
Yeah.
see a few reasons to approve.
I mean, look at the size of the deck, like you said, he's not wrapping it around. Doesn't have a jacuzzi on it. You're not
And
gonna
there's-
have a jacuzzi.
sorry.
No,
There was no opposition from the neighbors or anything that was,
not that I know
They've all
of.
been notified. We've not received any opposition or, in favor.
Any further questions?
I'm good.
All right, at this time, I motion for a vote. Do I have a second?
Second. Len LeBonnier, second.
Okay. We'll start to my left.
All right. Gary Garofalo, I vote to approve, based on peculiar topographic features such as steep slopes, ledge rock of this site would not allow reasonable use of this land.
Len LeBonnier, I'll vote to approve, based on the applicant's demonstration of a hardship.
Dave Patari, vote to approve for the particular topographic features.
Mark Kane, Chairman, I vote to approve. Same reasoning.
John Allen, I vote to approve, as well. I think the topography and, you know, when this was built is all for approving.
Jason Edwards, I vote to approve for the same reasons stated.
Thank you, appreciate
All
it.
right, let
Just
the
one
record
more,
show.
one more member?
Oh.
Do I just have to?
Oh, he was absent from it,
Yeah,
though.
so
He was
John
recused.
Perazzo, absent.
Abstain, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just for the record, thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you, appreciate your time.
All right, it's, the application is approved.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. John?
Good night, thank you.
Yeah, aye.
All right, let the record show, all in favor?
Appreciate it, thank you.
Oh, need a second.
Second.
Second,
There you go.
second, aye.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, John. We'll talk soon, all right? Awesome.
Did we motion to adjourn?
All right, so
Oh,
we're
couple
all
more
set
things.
with that, so.
Yeah, just to finish it up. I'm
So
excited
just-
about that one too.
So do we have any unfinished business, old business, anything coming? All right,
No,
But-
you just want to, announce to the commission that,
oh, Kathy.
yeah.
Oh, that's true, okay. All right, so one of our board members, Kathy, has put in her resignation, as of, was it immediately? Or, I mean, was there a specific date?
No, she's resigned as of this
Meeting?
meeting. yes.
Okay, all right, October 1st, all right. I think that's basically, let's see, new business, any other business? Any staff reports?
Nope.
Minutes of approval for previous?
Whoever was able to review those minutes would be the
Yeah.
one to make the motion of approval if they
Right.
look
A
good.
motion to approve the minutes for.
Any edits that you guys deem necessary, but you would have had to have reviewed the minutes in order to vote to approve them. So if none of you have, we'll just kick that off to the next meeting.
You wanna review the minutes? Or you good?
Oh, I can review the minutes.
Well, you don't have to, we're
Yeah.
just,
You weren't at that meeting, though.
we're,
You guys weren't at that
yeah, so. I motion to approve the minutes for September, second.
Second,
Second,
All right, let the record show. Any new bills, accounts receivable? Any FEMA money or? All right, I think we're all set. I state a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Let the record show. Everybody in favor, say aye.
aye.
There you go.